Hey guys, 1 second, I gotta grab a pair of headphones. I don't know why I forgot a pair of headphones. 1 second. All right. All right, how's it going, everyone? Morrison and Spectrum Blast Gaming, Jared Rooks. You got the notification. You were in the middle of watching my videos and you got a notification. Isn't that lovely? Desktop audio, gonna turn that on a bit here. So, yeah, welcome. This is something that if you had asked me 2 months ago, I didn't think would be happening. Google is doing a keynote speech today, a little showcase, a little presentation. It could be similar to an E3-like press conference. Not really sure how they're approaching this. They definitely have a building at GDC and a floor they're using that is set up very much like an E3 booth. So interesting stuff. Google is announcing gaming stuff today. They literally called it the Google GDC 2019 Gaming Announcement. Now, for those who don't know, Google has two projects that have been rumored as or confirmed to be in the works over the past year, if not been working on it longer. One of them is Project Stream. We've already seen that in action. They did an alpha, beta, whatever you want to call the test of it last year, right? They did that with Assassin's Creed Odyssey. I was able to participate in that. I live streamed that to you guys, and it worked really, really well. It is a game streaming service. They are likely going to talk about that in this keynote. There's no reason for them not to, because clearly the technology was there for this to run in Chrome. So I honestly think that that's going to obviously be something they talk about. Now, what people don't seem to be talking about is that there's also hardware in development by Google. It is called Project Yeti. That is the code name for it. Of course, when they actually unveil it here in this press conference, or whatever they're calling this, I guess a keynote speech, when they do unveil it, it won't be called Project Yeti anymore. It even has a logo that we've seen that I put up in Prime News yesterday as our first story. So I don't know what it is. No one really knows what Project Yeti is. There's rumors flying around, but even the rumors seem unsubstantiated. Is it a traditional under TV box home console? Is it that? Is it a handheld system? Is it just like a bigger, better Chromecast stick that you plug into your TV? I don't know. Nobody really knows much about the Yeti. Project Stream, we know what Project Stream is, right? Project Stream is video game streaming through a web browser. And that theoretically should work on anything that can run Chrome. So we know what that is. They might show off some shocking announcements with it, but we know what that is. It's this Project Yeti that has people really wondering what Google's doing. Because them doing the streaming stuff makes sense, but if they're going to dive in and try to compete with PlayStation 4, with Xbox One, with Nintendo Switch, how are they planning to do that? And we also know that Xbox 2, or whatever they call it, is around the corner. PlayStation 5 is around the corner. So is this our first next-gen piece of hardware? Like, are we looking at this as, hey, next year we're going to be getting a lot of good stuff? I don't know. For some reason, maybe my headphones aren't working here. I see that $2 super chat. Thank you, Ethan Draws. It says, here's some money. I hope this GDC thing goes well. I think a lot of people are curious what Google's doing. Now, there are some people that are trying to white knight about how, no one should be excited about what Google's doing because look at all this shady stuff they've done as a company. And all this stuff. And you could really say a lot of the things that about Google, about a lot of tech companies. Like Nintendo has used companies in the past, maybe even presently, to develop parts for their system that are using like blood diamonds. And it's kind of the thing that goes untalked about a lot in the electronic entertainment space. is all the things that happen in third world countries for us to end up getting the electronics that we have. So I was actually just about to eat my lunch, and I think I'm going to set that aside. We'll eat that later after the Google stuff. My stomach's getting a little giddy here with this Google stuff. Now, someone's going to yell at me in the chat eventually that I am drinking a Kickstart. I'm running on 1 hour of sleep. My kids are all sick, and they had issues last night, so I had to stay up with them. So I needed a caffeine kick today to get through this thing, get through my videos today. We'll see. Now, what I will note as well is that Prime News today might be delayed. It will come out, but it might be delayed. It might not land at 5 p.m. just because of this keynote. I don't know how long this keynote's going to be. There's no timer on it. It could be an hour, it could be 2, could be 3. We start getting to 2 to 3 hours, I won't have time to do anything. And what if there's a stream after the keynote that shows off more stuff? I gotta kind of watch that and see what's going on. So that might delay Prime News because there'll be a lot of stuff we'll need to summarize from this Google thing in Prime News today. So that might be delayed, but it will come later. And yeah, I have a couple other videos as well in the works that I might get out in the meantime. We'll see. One of them I didn't get done this morning like I wanted, but it's okay. We have to, I mean, today is this Google announcement, right? Like this is the big thing happening today. It would take something monumental to take attention away from Google announcing gaming stuff today. Now, again, Project Yeti might not be traditional hardware. That is something to keep in mind. No one knows what it is. It is the name they are using behind the scenes for hardware, but no one knows what kind of hardware we're talking about. It could just be a streaming box. We don't know. Or it's a traditional console. Nobody knows. So this will be interesting to see if they do everything. Anyways, smash that like button. Yeah. Smash that like button if you guys want more people, the more interactions with the stream, the more people it gets shared out to. You broke the like button. This GDC will kill it. Yeah, Nintendo's got their stuff tomorrow. They got their Nindy thing going on tomorrow. So we'll have another stream tomorrow covering the Nindy stuff. Let me see here. The 8th Arc says, the other question is, how much advertising integrated into this? Google make money from advertising. Will Google sell our data gained from this console? Probably. I mean, here's the thing. Anytime, this is, I think this needs to be stated because people, I don't know if they just don't understand how the internet works. Anything you do online is tracked and used in a database somewhere. Anything you do. Even if you're using a proxy server or whatever, right? Like, sure, maybe they can't tell you specifically are the one doing it, but they know that traffic at that place, that you logged into this place, that thing happened. That is logged somewhere, and they are able to then, use that data and extrapolate whatever they want for it. Typically for advertising purposes is usually what it's used for, right? Like, when Google gathers all this information on your Google searches, it's used for advertisers, right? That's what they do. So they do targeted advertising and tell advertisers that people are looking up this, because they're looking up this, you should advertise that, blah, 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 blah. So, yeah, of course it's going to gather data on you and use it and sell it to the highest bidder, and people, like, that's just the way the internet works. You cannot be on an internet-connected device and not expect that to happen. To not expect that to happen is ignorant. You're kidding yourself if data is not being extrapolated from Nintendo Switch Online Service, Xbox Live, and PlayStation Network and not being used in the exact same way. You are literally kidding yourself. Go read those end-user license agreements. That data is being used. What isn't shared is login information and personal data. So they claim anyways that that's not being shared. We don't honestly know, but what they basically claim is, credit card information, login information, passwords. That's not being shared. But what you actually do, that's being tracked and shared all the time on PlayStation Network, Nintendo Switch Online, and Xbox Live. Like, it's not even a dirty secret. They don't even hide it. It's right there in the end-user license agreement that nobody reads when they sign up for this stuff. So when you bring up a concern like, Google makes money from advertising, will Google sell our data gained from this console? Everybody does. It's already happening. So it's not really a concern I have. If you use the internet, you are being tracked. And what you do on the internet is being used in a database and resold and repackaged to advertisers to make money and get you to buy products. That's how the internet works. That's how cable TV works, too. Cable TV has a harder time tracking what you're doing. Not if you're watching internet TV. They can actually track your internet TV stuff better than they could track cable TV. But if you're watching cable TV, they have a harder time tracking exactly what you're doing. That's why they send out the Nielsen TV reports, and they will give you like $20 or something to fill it. Or I think it's $5 or $10. I don't know, whatever it is to fill it out. Let's see here. I'm ready to be both a Joy-Con boy and a Google god. I mean, I use a lot of Google products. I'm not going to sit here and pretend I don't. I use Google Drive. I use Google Chrome. Sometimes I do still use Firefox. So Google Chrome hasn't 100% replaced Firefox, but that's because there are add-ons for Firefox that don't really exist for Google Chrome. So that's kind of the reason. And there are times that Firefox just runs better than Google Chrome. Google Chrome is a resource hog, a massive resource hog. So... But, obviously I use YouTube. That's a Google product. I use a lot of Google products. Google Hangouts. The only thing I wasn't really using was Google+. I use their framework for emails. I use Gmail. I have my business email is set up through Google. So, I use Google for a lot of things. I really enjoy a lot of their software products. So now we'll see if I'm going to enjoy some of their hardware. I've never tried a Chromecast, so I don't know what that's like to use. I use Rokus in my house. That's my if I don't have a smart TV that can handle everything. Like this TV I have wall mounted that I use for live streams. It's a smart TV, but it's one of those cheapos where it doesn't have most of the apps. Like if you just want to watch Netflix, it has it. If you want to do anything else, not really. Like even Hulu, it has Hulu, but you can't watch live TV through it. And I have a live TV Hulu subscription, so it's like, oh, I want to watch the game on my TV. You can't. And even when you hook the Switch up to it, to use the Hulu app, which can watch live TV, it doesn't really work because there's an encoding issue between the cheap TVs and Switch. It actually also exists between the cheap TVs and the other systems too. So it's dumb. But that's why I got Roku sticks. I got like 2 of them, I think. And the TV in my room is a Roku TV. Anyways, you guys don't need to know much more than that. Let's My favorite is Bang Star Blast, Cotton Candy, and Pina Colada. My favorite, if we're talking about strict energy drink stuff, because I know some people talking about, oh, this one's healthier, this one's that, this one. I don't really care about that crap. I care about what I like. My favorite is the Balls energy drink. BAWLS. You basically have to, around here anyways, you have to basically buy them online. They got like a root beer flavor. The root beer flavor is basically pure soda. But they have other ones that aren't, and they have like sugar-free ones and stuff like that. I like those a lot. The problem is they're expensive, and because I am not really, I'm trying not to drink soda, and I'm on this 90-day diet thing and this 90-day workout plan, that I'm just kind of cheating a little bit today because I didn't get a lot of sleep. I'm not cheating the diet. Like, I'm still eating what I'm supposed to eat. Just having, I think I'm going to have like 2 of these. But, it's okay. I already did the calorie counting and added everything in the back, and I made adjustments to my diet today to have these, so it's not the end of the world. Yeah, that's my preferred energy drink. But man, this Google console stuff, man, this is exciting. I mean, we are 31 minutes away, or 30 minutes and 30 seconds away from this thing starting, and we have over 100 people watching our stream right now because everybody wants to know what the hell is Google doing. Seriously, what are they doing? Nobody besides Project Stream. And like, they have Ubisoft's going to be here, part of their keynote. So Ubisoft games are going to be in there. That's not a surprise. It's Assassin's Creed Odyssey. But Ubisoft's going to be in there. Bandai Namco is going to be in there. Gosh, how many? Hold on. Maybe let's look that up quick while we have time here. Because for some reason, this won't let me maximize it till it starts. So let's see here if... what game companies are at Google's GDC 2019 keynote? So there was a whole bunch of companies. Okay, so Polygon here. They're not a big fan of Polygon, but they might have all the companies listed that were announced so far to be part of the keynote. Let me see here. Yep, we're working on a hardware component, blah, 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 There also was like that supposed Google controller leak that existed. Google has made some big hiring moves. They hired former Xbox and PlayStation executive Phil Harrison, former Ubisoft and EA studio head Jay Rabin, former PlayStation hardware research fellow. That's a huge one too for hardware. Richard Marks, and former PlayStation Home and PlayStation Now director Jack Buser. So they hired some big names. Let's see here. But they didn't have the companies listed. Does Shack News have the companies listed? I was reading about them the other day. I'm trying to remember where I leaned about. Oh, look at this. Some mock designs and information regarding the Google gaming console leaked before GDC 2019 was underway. Yeah, so this, I've seen this. This is the controller leak. This is the supposed controller for whatever this console is. I don't know if it's legit or not. Nobody's really sure if it's legit, but I mean, if this is the controller for whatever their streaming stick is or whatever, I don't mind it too much. You know, it's got the Google colors, so instead of like A, B, X, Y, or like the square, triangle, X, you know, kind of setup or circle, they go with the colors. I don't mind the colors. Colors are fine. You can get used to like a yellow, red, green, blue. Like you can get used to that. Because it's pretty much going to be a same controller setup to other systems. You got the home button, kind of like you know, if like we look at like a Switch kind of controller, you know, you kind of got your plus and minus, but then you got like your capture button and your home button. So they have like a home button, they have a multitasking button. You assume the Google logo is like the connection or turn on button, like on Xbox. Here, let me actually grab an Xbox controller for those that might not be aware. I don't know how you can't know what an Xbox controller is like, but. And look, it's even white. And see, what's cool about this is this also is color coded too, right? So you know it goes green, red, blue, yellow. So it's kind of like backwards and different from the way Google does it, but whatever. So they got the Xbox logo. If I push this in, it would actually turn on my Xbox. So I think that's what the Google logo is going to be for. What's interesting is there's also a microphone button. The microphone button, I'm not sure what the microphone button. Actually, I don't need these on right now. The microphone button, I'm not sure what that's for. Is it like a push to talk situation? You know, where like you're sitting here like this, and then you gotta like push the button to talk, or is it just indicating that there's a microphone port, or is that just that entire area where the microphone is? Is that literally a microphone? Don't know. And this is if this is true. They definitely went with a more PlayStation-like design, of course, because you see Xbox, how they have the offset sticks, just like Switch does. But do I have my PlayStation 3? Hold on, I'm gonna see my PlayStation 3 controller as well to compare. All right, doesn't look like I have my PlayStation 3 controllers down here, but you guys know what a DualShock's like. A DualShock looks a lot like this photo. Where you have the thumbsticks down here and the D-pad up here and the buttons up there. So it's kind of like a DualShock design. The shoulder buttons are things that I don't like. If this is the legit controller, I'm not sure about those shoulder buttons. Those shoulder buttons remind me a lot of the Joy-Con straps. Where do I have the straps? I don't have the straps on me right now. But you guys know, like when you take off a Joy-Con, where did I put my? I just had my Joy-Con controller. Where did I put it? Man. Anyways, you know when you take out the sideways Joy-Con and you're holding it like this, and you slide on the rail, the Joy-Con strap, that's what those buttons remind me of. And I'm not so sure about that. It'll probably be fine, but I'm not sure if I like that design. Again, this is a mock-up. This might not be the final design. It might not even be real, but this was a leaked controller design that came out. So again, it kind of gives you an idea that if they were to put a controller out there, it'll probably be a more traditional controller. It is interesting looking at the angles of it too. Like up here, you could tell there's an angle here, but then you get down here and it's like it's a pretty sharp down angle. It's interesting. I wonder how that's going to feel to hold. And see, they had a picture here of what a DualShock kind of controller is like with the sticks down here. So it's very similar to a DualShock controller. Although the buttons and the D-pad look like they're a little closer. Maybe they're not. Maybe they're not a little closer. I guess they're probably about the same distance on DualShock. I'm not a fan of the DualShock design. Oh, here you go. You can really see the angle here. The sharp decline. You could definitely tell the Google button, if this is a real one, is pressable. It's interesting that it's indented. All these are indented. I think that's so you don't accidentally bump them when you're moving your fingers around. I actually kind of like that. I think, you know, if the Switch controller had like a button in the middle to turn on the Switch, you know, I know you can do it with the home button, but let's just say they had a button in the middle. The fact that these buttons are raised, you might bump those trying to hit that button. So I kind of like that these are all recessed buttons, so you have to want to press them. You know, there's not going to be a lot of accidental presses. And I think this microphone button looks pressable too. Looks like it's indented. Interesting. I wonder if that's to quick mute your mic. I'm not sure. It'll be interesting to find out if that's real. And then these are the patent designs they saw out there that basically match these mock-ups or whatever. So there's a back look at the trigger. So you couldn't tell from this photo here because you're looking down. So the top triggers, you know, look like exactly what I thought. But if this is true, this is a little bit better. Okay, I like that design a bit better. That's more traditional. Look at Xbox One because Switch's ones aren't exactly the greatest. So Xbox ones have like this curve that kind of fits in there. This curve on this one looks more like a rounded, like a hump. Yeah, I mean, I can get with that. That you know, now that I see it, that doesn't look too bad. Because like these top shoulder buttons on controllers, they've always been kind of like, you know, they're just there. So I guess, you know, the fact that they're a little smaller than normal, that doesn't bother me. But looks like it has full triggers, and it definitely looks like it has a battery compartment, and a charging port or like a connection if you want to do a wired connection. I think that's interesting. I think that this is an interesting controller design. What I need to know about is the thickness of the downslope on their controller. What's the thickness of that? How does that feel when you hold it? Is it too sharp of an angle here, like at the edge? Up here, is that too sharp of an angle? It's hard to know. So interesting. Let's just say that's interesting. What else does the Shack News article have? Not much. It just says here's. See, I was looking for who else besides Ubisoft and Bandai Namco were confirmed to be part of this. I remember reading about it somewhere. Maybe it was it on their Twitter? I'm trying to remember where they announced it. So. Oh, ID Software. Here we go. So, ID Software is going to be part of their keynote today. So we're going to see something from ID Software. Ubisoft. That's not a surprise. I mean, Assassin's Creed Odyssey alone made Ubisoft not a surprise. They're clearly working with Google. So you know, developer of Doom, ID Software. I mean, does that mean we're going to see some Doom Eternal today? Are we going to see some Doom Eternal today? Forget waiting for E3. Are we going to see some today? That would be crazy. And who knows what else they might have in the works. Let me see here. That's really it. Oh, Google developers? Calling all developers, gather around as we unveil Google's vision for the future of gaming. I saw that video. ID Software. Yep. Let's go to the Google conference. Game Developers Conference. GDC. Huh. Doesn't really say. Cool. So, yeah, that's interesting. So ID Software. So, Bandai Namco is part of it. ID Software, Ubisoft. We're going to see a lot of games. There's going to be a lot of games today. I think that's what I'm getting out of this is there are going to be a lot of games. So, we're about 20 minutes away here from this starting. Don't know how long it's going to be. We could be in for a ride, folks. This could be a 3-hour keynote. We don't know. I'm guessing it's at least an hour. At least an hour, but it could be longer. And Google's kind of all by themselves today, man. That's what's interesting. This has an E3-like feel to it, but Google's just on their own here. And the question is, if they have a traditional console, are they going to be at E3 then? Are we going to be able to see, like, if this box isn't releasing before E3, are we going to see whatever, like, if they have a traditional console, are they going to take that to E3? Are they going to take it to PAX? It's going to be interesting to see Google's approach for this system if they have a traditional console to go along with their streaming services. Let's see what some other people are saying here. Ouya, Pippin, Saturn, 3DO, Virtual Boy, Dreamcast, N-Gage, Philips, CDI, Neo Geo, Gizmondo, Gizmodo too. Like there's been a lot of failed attempts at systems. Granted, I don't think Ouya. When you go through some of those, like Ouya and Virtual Boy in particular, those aren't like more traditional systems. Those are like Virtual Boy was a one-off attempt at some tabletop thing that failed, and Ouya was literally basically like plugging a stick into your TV and playing indie games. So Ouya to me wasn't a traditional console, but yeah, like obviously there's been a lot of failed consoles out there. Dreamcast though, interestingly enough, if you actually look at the data for Dreamcast wasn't a failure. Sega was a failure. Sega failed so hard before Dreamcast came out that even though Dreamcast was selling well, it didn't matter. There was not a world that could exist where Dreamcast could sell enough units to save Sega from pulling out of the hardware business. So like the actual sales of Dreamcast over like the 18 months it was on the market were very good, but it didn't matter. It just didn't matter because Sega was screwed before Dreamcast even came out. Let's see here. Google also said they're working on a VR system. Yep, they've been working on stuff for a while. Like they've had the Google Glass thing they've been doing. Google Cardboard they kind of threw together for people to use with their phones if they want. They've obviously been involved in the VR space. Google is a tech company, so it's interesting. Video games is like the one area Google has never really taken seriously until now. So it's going to be very interesting to see how this goes. Won't be as good as the Soulja Boy console. So Squid Bag. It can't be as bad, right? You got to assume that it's not a rip-off console, if there is a console. Ubisoft. KFC is making a VR headset. What? Are you sure it's not like a joke? Sure it's not like a joke headset. KFC grease-proof console. I'm going to grind an Earthbound for 30 minutes. Cool. Ooh, look at that. The viewer count here is up to, so you lean this up to 25, almost 26,000 on this stream. It hasn't even started yet. And I might refresh this page in case the expand key doesn't come up. They disabled the chat. Cool. They don't even want a live chat for this. I think they disabled the chat because they think so many people are going to watch. They're worried about the stream crashing. That happens sometimes on really popular streams on YouTube. It'll crash because the chat's moving so fast. Let's see here. Who says ID software? That's what I say. I know people call it id software. I'm well aware. But whenever I see the word ID together, it's initials to me. ID. Like, can I see your ID, please? They're asking for your identification. So, like, to me, that's just why every time I see ID and then software, I call it ID software. A Battle Royale console. Fortnite 2. How much for diesel? Why are we talking about gas prices? Epic be making a console. Isn't it Mad Dog Studios? Making the Mad Box? They're making a console. That's literally, it's a PC. Don't even call it a console. It's not even a console form factor. It's literally like some funky PC tower that you hook up to your TV. It's a PC. I don't know why they're calling that a console. I mean, there's probably only going to be like 100 of them ever made. So it'll be one of those one-off, like, oh man, do you remember when Mad Dog Studios made a console? And it's just a PC that you can use for anything. A really powerful PC, I'm sure. Oh, the hiccups are coming on. You can tell I didn't sleep much last night. I can't believe we're about to live in a world where Google elitists exist. Google elitists already exist. What are you talking about? There are people who are Google elitist about Chrome. There are people who are Google elitist about Google products. Hey, bud.
Okay, I'm gonna solve.
Okay.
I take that out.
Okay, you know what, bud? You're okay. I'll put a new one on.
Then she knows how to find Band-Aid.
Yeah, I'll put a new one on later. Can you shut my door, please? Ollie? No? I have a babysitter watching the kids, and my son walks down here to tell me he needs a new Band-Aid on his foot. I'm like, ah. Anyways. It was just shutting the door. Anyways, let's see here. I can't believe in a world where Google elitists. Google elitists exist. Like Google Pixel, you know, that's phone now. They're on their 3rd iteration, I think. So just like there's Apple phone elitists or Samsung and Android elitists, like, yeah, they already exist. So obviously in the gaming sphere, we hadn't had to worry about it as much, but it's coming. Totino's in talks to acquire Xbox. Jeez, you guys. Oh, hey-oh. We got something going here. Oh. Let's, I'm going to turn that down until something's happening. Man, it's really loud in my headphones. I should have got headphones that have a volume slider. Just wear them on my head like this and look weird. At least we can, oh, look at that. I'm streaming in 4K. We'll see if that holds up. We'll see if I can actually stream this bad boy in 4K. At least you have some background music now, guys. Oh, look at that. Fancy. You know Google, they always got to make some fancy animations. I'm surprised that the puffs of smoke aren't going with the music. Birth of a Google fanboy incoming. I use a lot of Google products, so I mean, I might be excited about this. I might not be. I don't know how I'm gonna react. I don't know what's happening. I know I liked Project Stream last year. I want Project Stream on Switch, but wouldn't that be crazy if that got announced today? Oh, look at that. So they got, what are the symbols they got there? So they have one of the dog tags, like from the military. They have a grenade. They have what looks like a puzzle game or something, right? That looks like a puzzle game with the little ship, that second thing. The third one, what is that third one in the middle? I'm not sure what that is. Is that candles? Is that lipstick? I don't. Oh, okay. No, those are bullets. Okay, you got bullets, and then a bomber. One of those drone bombers at the end. So they're definitely gonna have some war game announcement. That's for sure. Some Battlefield or some Call of Duty or something. That's gonna be announced. Let's see here. Who else is watching the stream at work? Technically, I'm at work, so that's me. Thank you so much, Michael Collins, earlier as well for subscribing. I'm watching at school. Jeez. Just scrolling through the chat here. Do you think the Google console is going to be the size of a Blu-ray player or a Chromecast? If it's an actual console, it'll be more like a Blu-ray player, if not a little bigger than that. They already have Chromecast, so I guarantee you Project Stream can already work on a Chromecast because it just runs in the browser. So I don't think it'll be like a new Chromecast. It could be. It'd be interesting if that's all it was. We don't know. The thing is, we just don't know. Do I know that YouTube's owned by Google? Of course I know that YouTube's owned by Google. Who do you take me for? I know who signs my paychecks. Will Nintendo show up in this video and announce a partnership with Google? Probably not. No. Now, could they potentially announce that Project Stream's coming to Switch? They could do that. But I don't think that I mean, that would be interesting if they announced that here. But I don't think that's going to happen. I mean, I'm not saying it's not going to come to Switch someday, but I don't think that's being announced today. I think today is going to be focused on Project Stream and whatever they're calling it, the final name. And it's going to also be focused on whatever hardware they're bringing. Whatever the hardware is. They're going to be highly focused on that, and then what the library is going to be. And then what the pricing is going to be, how they're going to deliver it, when things are going to release, all that stuff. And how you can buy it, you know, obviously online, but is it also going to be like they're... Like, heck, I have a Google Wi-Fi router at my house. And no, it's not because I'm biased towards Google. I've actually used a bunch of Wi-Fi routers, and it just happened to be that I couldn't afford one, a more expensive one at the time, so I just picked it up, and actually it's been awesome. I actually really like the Google Wi-Fi router. But I didn't know that when I bought it. I thought I was going to hate it. But watching at work at my desk. Nice, Be Righteous. Could they be like, we're going to be launching Borderlands 3 as a launch day game, and then the rest of the... That'd be cool, too. Like, are we going to get new game announcements today? That's another thing. Like, yeah, the new games might come to other platforms, but are they going to be announced first here? Did Google take their billions and billions and billions of dollars and get some announcements in this bad boy? Oh, look, they have sports up now, so they got golf, looks like NFL, running, soccer, and they have it's a hockey mask, but every time I see that mask, I'm like, Jason, we're getting a Friday the 13th game. But that's a hockey mask. Cool. So there'll be some sport game announcements. I mean, the symbols have to mean something. So sports game announcements coming. So we're gonna have a shooter game. We're gonna have some sports games. I doubt the Google console will play Blu-rays unless they pay a huge licensing fee to Sony. Apple famously refused to pay this royalty to Sony, calling it a bag of hurt. Just so you know, they don't actually pay the licensing fee directly to Sony. The Blu-ray stuff is owned by an entire, by a conglomerate of companies. And it's not just like everyone thinks Sony owns Blu-ray technology. They do not own Blu-ray technology. It's a collection of companies that own the Blu-ray technology, and it's just a standard fee that everyone pays. Even the companies using the Blu-ray technology still pay that fee. Everyone pays the fee to the whole of the Blu-ray company. So it's not paying money to Sony. It's never been you're giving money to Sony to have Blu-rays. Microsoft does not give money to Sony to play 4K Blu-rays. They give money to a collection that Sony happens to be part of. So, Apple, and when you talk about Apple famously refused to pay this royalty, I mean, we pay a royalty to use Apple products. So, Apple's not one to talk about royalty fees. All right? I want a PS4. Hope Google can compete with that. Be interesting. I think... Like, if they're going to announce a traditional console, it has to be something that competes with the next gen, right? They can't just pull like, oh, we're going to release a base PlayStation 4 system right now. Like, I don't think that to me would be, if you're going to enter traditional hardware, you need to enter with a bang. If you're just going to do streaming, fine, do streaming, nail it out of the park, try to become the Netflix of streaming. But if you're going to do streaming and you're going to be the Netflix of streaming and you're going to have a traditional box, you need to come hard with that traditional box. I don't even care if it's a digital-only traditional box, right? Like if they don't have a Blu-ray player on it. But what I do think is that if you're going to come, you need to come with the hardware. You need to bring it hard. This needs to be a next-gen system. But we'll see. We don't know that they're even doing that. It could literally just be streaming today. And that's fine. They're streaming. The Project Stream last year was great. So to see what their plans are for streaming and when they're launching it. Watch them do a ghost launch. It launches today. Google does that sometimes. This music. Golf, NFL, basketball, football, ice hockey. That's my guess. Football, i.e. FIFA. Yeah. Well, they had NFL playbook drawn up with 11 players on each side on the one picture, but that X's and O thing, that's a classic NFL thing. Do you think they'll be using ARM or x86? If it's a traditional console, I think they're going to go x86 or x64. I got to remember, x86 is actually an older architecture. It's still a standard, but x64 is the new standard, and it just works in tandem with x86. So I think if it's a next-gen system with current-gen hardware from a PC side, but in a box that's way more powerful, it'll have to be x86 or x64. If they go with the ARM structure, then you're just talking about a Chromecast. Unless, hey, maybe they blow us out of the park. Maybe we're thinking about this all wrong. Maybe they're going to have Chromecast, right? So you're going to be able to have Google Chrome and be able to do the Project Stream casting everywhere on Chrome. And they're not talking about making hardware to compete with Xbox. They're talking about competing with Switch. Something to play on the go when you don't have internet. Because remember, Project Stream only works when you have internet access. So if you're on the go and you don't have internet, maybe they want to provide you a gaming device for that. And that would be a Switch competitor. So maybe we're thinking about this all wrong. Maybe the hardware is actually competing with Switch. Oh, is it starting? No. They're just letting us know it's going to be E through M. So there's M-rated games, some E-rated games. Cool. If you do cloud/stream gaming, the power of the hardware doesn't matter. The power of the hardware is in the... No. I know that, Corey. You don't have to repeat. I know that. The streaming service doesn't need powerful hardware. That's not what I'm talking about. The rumor is they have Project Stream and they have hardware. So they have a streaming service and a traditional box that you play games locally with. That's the rumor. The rumor is they have both. That they're not just doing one or the other. They're trying to tackle everything. And now we see some gold bars, a ham, a log, a mouse click. So you'll probably be able to use your mouse. Or maybe that's just to represent using Chrome. And what the heck is the... What is that? Hexagon? No, it's not hexagon. It's a pentagon? What the heck is... I'm probably getting that wrong. Pentagon? Is that 6? 6-sided? There's a log. Frogger confirmed. There's gold bars. Confirmed. Google's going to be asking us for pure gold for whatever they're launching. You pay it in gold. Hex. Is it a hexagon? The hex was 8. No, it's octagon. Okay, you know, hexagon was right then, yeah. Octagon, jeez. Getting my shapes all mixed up, guys. I need to go back to 5th grade. Actually, I think they do this in, like, 2nd grade, 1st grade. Man, I gotta go all the way back to elementary school. Red Dead Redemption 2, gold bars. Yeah, there's... Okay. 160 people watching. We have, like, 4 minutes until this starts. I want to tell you guys something about Red Dead Redemption 2. I have sources that will for now remain unnamed. They're going to remain unnamed anyways. That have told me that there is a high likelihood that Red Dead Redemption 2 is going to be in this thing. Whatever the system, whatever Project Stream is, that Red Dead Redemption 2 is going to be part of this. I wanted to make a video on it, but I never really did, and I wasn't really comfortable, and I didn't want people like, oh my gosh, if it doesn't show up, Nintendo Prime, you're so wrong, you're such bad. Like, no, I trust my sources. They're legit people, but they even told me it's not 100% for sure it's going to be in this, but it is going to be on the platforms. But yeah, I'm like pretty sure we're going to see some Red Dead Redemption 2 today on whatever Google's doing. You pay in honeycomb cereal. If you go back to 2nd grade, don't scam your way to just... No, if I go back to 2nd grade, it's Billy Madison style, right? You spend 1 week in each class, and then you take the final. Move on up, right? If I want Nintendo Prime to make it, I got to do it with Billy Madison style. I got to go back to kindergarten, go all the way through 12th grade, 1 week each. Billy Madison up, baby. There it is, Red Dead 2. Look at all that. Hey, and I said it before this stuff appeared on screen. Who said it? They haven't even announced it yet. Again, my sources are legit. I told you. Here we go. I don't have a ton of sources for a lot of things, by the way. I just happen to have sources for a little bit of this Google stuff. And Red Dead's the only thing that I was comfortable talking about. So here we go. Red Dead Redemption 2, baby. Coming to the service. Now bring Project Stream to Switch so I can live in a world where I am playing Red Dead Redemption 2 on the John at my house. Let's go. Civ 6. The hex can be... Oh, you're right. The hexagon could be Civ. You're right. They do hexagon tiles in Civilization. That could have been a Civ reference. Owen Brewster. Nice. Yes. Thank you, Google. You pretty much confirmed my sources already. 2 minutes away here. Avengers Project. That's been rumored too about an Avengers Project being announced today. Some sort of game. If they show a Buster Sword, that would hype me for Final Fantasy VII Remake. Oh my god. That would be a huge get for them if the next time we saw the Final Fantasy VII Remake was at this. That thing is in such development hell. Imagine just a cowboy reference, right? They just have like a Pecos Bill dancing cartoon saying, "How's it going, everyone?" And then, "Here's our new system." Oh. Be like, really? You bastards. If Cappy shows up, anything Nintendo showing up would be shocking. Okay, it's starting here soon. We got about a minute. Nintendo Prime Cowboy. It's going to be like a 1-2 switch all over again. I don't know, man. I'm pretty sure they're going to have some pretty hardcore games in here. They got M-rated games listed, so there's going to be some big names in here. Ooh, what's these final symbols they have? Okay, so you have like the warning label. That makes me think of things like BioShock, Fallout. Is that R2-D2 being drawn? No, that's okay. So they got a gravestone. Okay, so you have some weapons like a like a machete, a bat, a crowbar. Okay, survival kind of games. Oh, it's noon officially because my phone went off. And a brain. Okay, stay tuned. Okay, zombie, Walking Dead. Okay, cool. Yep, possibly. So what is this announcement? New streaming platform? Well, the streaming platform will be for sure. Hey, Solna, thank you so much for subscribing on Twitch. Sorry, I am not actually looking at the Switch chat, so if people are talking on Twitch, on Twitch, on the Switch chat. On Twitch chat, I apologize. I don't have enough screen space to have all the chats up. Let me actually see. Are there people talking on Twitch? Maybe I'll pop out the Twitch chat. We do have a couple people talking on Twitch. It looks like Barius507. I'll just try to pop out the chat here before this starts. Maybe? Where's my chat pop-out option? Pop-out chat. There it is. Alright, so let me bring this back up and then full screen this and then bring up my Twitch chat. Just in case, so I don't miss anything on Twitch. Alright, there we go. And I have all notifications and everything turned off, so nothing's going to pop up. We're just going to... The stream is that and me reacting. So let's go. Is Modern Warfare 4? Is that what you're hoping for, Venomous Bite? The Capcom zombie game, Resident Evil, Sippin' Whiskey Song Time, Metal Gear Survive, Dark Souls, Crowbar, Half-Life 3. God, people are never going to let Half-Life 3 go, are they? We're up to 187 viewers. Nice. So a lot of people interested in this, man, in the middle of a Tuesday. Let's go. Looking forward to this reveal, says Be Righteous over on Twitch. Nice. Yeah. We're past time. I don't know why it hasn't started yet. What's going on? We'll see if I can actually stream this to you guys with the stream. My stream's in 1080, but I'm streaming theirs in 4K. We'll see if it holds. I do have business line internet here, so I should be able to do it. Or is this the beginning? Is this it? Are we starting? I'm going to turn up the volume on it if we're starting. Should be starting. I mean, that's the Google symbol. Clearly being drawn out. It's got to be starting. All right, I'm going to turn their volume up. Turn mine down. That mine down just a tad. Chrome design. It's actually the Google symbol. It's not just Chrome. All right. Google's on a lunch break. Here we go. Come on, Google. There's the crowd now. Okay, this was in their preview. Sporting arena. Concert. Adventure game. Yeah, they showed this in their preview. Workshop. Racing game. Apex Legends, and this might be another adventure game. Outer Space. Medieval. Racing. Okay, here we go.
Please welcome to the stage the CEO of Google, Sundar Pichai.
Wow, bringing out the big dog here. Bringing out the big dog for this announcement.
Good morning, everyone. It's great to be here. Thank you all for joining us. I suppose I should start out with a confession. I'm actually not a big gamer, though I do play FIFA 19 quite a bit and really enjoy how immersive it is. I also play Ashes cricket quite a bit. And for those of you who are wondering what cricket is, it's kind of like baseball, but better.
Takes like a week sometimes.
Another little-known fact is that Google makes arguably the most played game on the internet today. It's the Dino Chrome game, mostly played when there's no internet connection. I'm not going to talk to you about the high-quality graphics and sophistication you all are used to, but it does have a lot of players, and I've probably logged more hours than I care to admit. While I'm not a big gamer, I do have the privilege of working at a company and leading a company full of people who love to solve hard computer science problems. For many Googlers, their journey with computers started with games. Games have inspired many generations of people to pursue careers in tech. And through that process, they build resourcefulness, creativity, and collaboration, all qualities that are key to solving hard problems. And within Google and Alphabet, games play a big part in developing our own technology. The best example I can think of is how we are making progress on AI. DeepMind's AlphaZero uses self-play to learn from scratch and master games like chess, shogi, and Go.
Let's go.
It's an important step towards creating a flexible, general-purpose system that can learn to solve many foundational problems.
Go is really complex, man.
More recently, Alpha Star became the first AI to defeat a top professional player at StarCraft 2, using a deep neural network trained directly from raw game data. Increasingly, games are helping AIs learn to tackle real-world challenges. Even beyond DeepMind, another great example we have is Waymo, where we use simulations in gaming-like environments to test things that aren't actually possible or safe at scale in the real world. In fact, Waymo has driven more than 5 billion hours in simulations of edge case scenarios that vehicles wouldn't normally encounter. And we use it, we learn from it, and actually improve the systems that we'll be deploying in the real world. Perhaps the biggest impact of gaming is how it pushes us to make big leaps in computing and networking power,
big thing to remember, Thark, is this isn't E3. This is the Game Developers Conference. Keynotes at Game Developers Conferences aren't like E3.
And technology forward,
because they're talking to developers.
Exciting.
Everyone in that crowd is basically
At
a
Google,
game developer.
we've always believed that technology should adapt to people,
So you got to
not the
remember
other way
the
around.
audience they're speaking
We've been building towards this vision for some time. For example, when we launched Chrome a decade ago, we envisioned that it could be a modern platform for web applications and bring the power of web to everyone, including use cases that seemed impossible at that time, like high-quality games. Finally, we are making progress towards that goal. In fact, over the past 2 years, we've been hard at work on game streaming technology. And last fall, we launched our first public test with Project Stream.
Went well.
As some of you guessed, a technical test wasn't the whole view of our ambition.
Of course.
It was probably the worst kept secret in the industry. Internally, we were actually testing our ability to stream high-fidelity graphics over a low-latency network. We learned that we could bring a AAA game to any device with a Chrome browser and an internet connection, using the best of Google to create a powerful game platform. And when we say best of Google, it always starts with our cloud and networking infrastructure. Our custom server hardware and data centers can bring more computing power to more people on planet Earth than anyone else. Today, we are in 19 regions and in over 200 countries and territories, connected by hundreds of thousands of miles of fiber optic cables. The best of Google also includes our open platforms that allow you to reach billions of people. With Google, your games will be immediately discoverable by over 2 billion people on a Chrome browser, Chromebooks, Chromecast, Pixel devices.
That's a lot of people using
and
Google.
we have plans to support more browsers and platforms over time. That's in addition to all the people playing and watching games across YouTube and Google Play. And when we build these ecosystems, we always take the approach that we only succeed when our partners do. Collectively, our partners across web, Google Play, and YouTube have earned more than $110 billion over the past 4 years alone, and we are committed to this approach here as well. So now we are focused on our next big effort, which is to build a game platform for everyone. And when we say for everyone, we really mean it.
Well,
it's one of our most cherished values as a company. Be it Android or Chrome or AI, we are dead serious about making technology accessible for everyone.
AI.
But if you think about games, there are a lot of barriers for users to play high-end games. Beautiful graphics really need high-end consoles or PCs. And games don't have instant access. Think about the way the web works. You can easily share a link, and it works seamlessly. We want games to feel that way, too. Instantly enjoyable with access for everyone.
Sure, that's a streaming service.
I think we can change the game by bringing together the power and creativity of the entire community. People who love to play games, people who love to watch games, and people who love to build games. That means all of you. We are really excited to work with you. We want to build a platform.
That looked like an Xbox.
We want you to show us what's possible. And together, I think we can create a new games experience, powered by Best of Google and built for everyone. Let's take a look.
From the beginning of time, games have brought us together. Players and spectators. By the handful, the hundreds and the thousands. We built stadiums, places to gather around every kind of spectacle. Glory, tragedy, pageantry, community, rivalry, and wonder. Until every city, town, and village had a place where anyone could play. Thousands of years in, our games have changed. But our need to come together remains. This new era of gaming needs a new place to gather. One place where anything you dream can be built. Playgrounds for every imagination. One place where you and everyone you know and everyone they know will all play together.
Let's go! Let's go, squad! Let's go!
Why is that guy in the bathtub with some shit?
One place that never stops evolving. Where everyone will play.
Where did he come from?
And watch.
Yes! High five! Strike, bam!
And create.
Woo!
Nice!
From any screen, at any time.
No, there was the controller.
One
Looked
place
like the mock-up.
for all the ways we play. This is Stadia.
Stadia. Okay.
Gather round.
Interesting name. Stadia. Stadia. So what's their answer going to be for people who don't have internet? I think the streaming service is great, by the way. It's awesome.
Welcome to Stadia. We are so excited by this. To do this well, it's important that we have the right people working on this, experts with deep history and heritage in games. That starts with Phil Harrison, who joined us about a year ago. He's a great leader and a great gamer. Definitely someone who knows the difference between RPGs and NPCs. I'm going to pass the mic over to Phil to show you what we have built. Take it away, Phil.
Thank you, Sundar. That's great. Thank you, Sundar. It's such a pleasure to be here today, and thank you for joining us at GDC as we finally get to share Google's vision for the future of games, where the worlds of watching and playing games converge into a new generation game platform.
I mean, that's their streaming.
Purpose-built for the 21st century.
That's a streaming
powered by the best of Google. Our vision for Stadia is simple. One place for all the ways we play. It's focused on gamers, inspired by developers, and amplified by YouTube creators. Today, our industry captivates over 2 billion players from all around the world. At the center of that community, its beating heart, are the game developers, the people in this room that create the most incredible game experiences that delight players with engrossing stories, characters, and worlds through a dazzling display of technology, artistry, and magic. Games are now the single biggest form of entertainment on the planet, one that connects a vast community across geographies, cultures, and language. And within that passionate community, there is a universe of people who love playing games, and there's a universe of people who love watching games. Hundreds of millions of people watch gaming content every single day on YouTube. But those two worlds are mostly disconnected, fragmented, and often independent of each other. Our vision is to bring those worlds closer together, to connect game developers with players and YouTube creators in a way that only Google can, creating a richer and more vibrant gaming community for everyone to enjoy. Through the power of our data centers, the extraordinary reach and community of YouTube, and our investments in the fundamental technologies that are the foundations of the open internet, we offer a truly unique opportunity to combine these worlds. We will be handing that extraordinary power of the data center over to you, the game developers, where playgrounds for every imagination can be created. Our first public test of this came in October of last year with Project Stream, where we streamed a AAA HD game at up to 1080p and 60 frames per second over the internet from Google data centers to a Chrome browser. We were humbled by the overwhelmingly positive response from players who were able to join us on Project Stream. A huge thank you to those of you who participated in Project Stream and for your vital feedback. And also to the amazing people at Ubisoft for trusting us with the latest incarnation of their incredible game franchise, Assassin's Creed. Ubisoft has always been at the forefront of advancements in the games industry, and they have an incredible track record of success and creativity. And joining us here in the audience today, I'm delighted to welcome the CEO and co-founder of Ubisoft, Yves Guillemot. Thank you, Yves. I'd like to thank Yves and his team for partnering with us, and to producer Marc-Alexis Cote and the entire Ubisoft Quebec studio for their masterpiece creation, Assassin's Creed Odyssey. Thank you for bringing your game to our platform, and congratulations for being the first game played by the public on Stadia. As many of you experienced with Assassin's Creed Odyssey, we now have the ability to take a sophisticated, graphically intense AAA game and stream it to a Chrome browser running on a simple laptop without any sacrifice to the quality or vision of the game developer. As successful as Project Stream was, our ambition is, of course, far beyond a single game. As we developed our strategy for this new platform, we asked developers how we can help solve some of the most critical challenges you face. There were three very clear themes that resonated. You told us you wanted to unleash your creativity without limits, get to the widest possible scale, and make it easier for people to connect with your games. We used these three themes to anchor our vision and build our platform architecture, and began to share it with the leading publishers and developers in the world. Now, let me show you how we have brought this vision to life. Imagine you are watching games on YouTube, and you discover the latest Assassin's Creed Odyssey trailer on Ubisoft's official channel on YouTube. You will notice the Play Now button. By simply clicking on that button, the player is brought directly into the game in a browser in as quick as 5 seconds, with no download.
That's pretty impressive. I mean, obviously, internet, you know, that's pretty cool. That's cool. I didn't think they would do that.
With no download, no patch, no
Right off the
update,
YouTube
and
video.
no install. Stadia offers instant access to play.
Won't
Our
be free,
platform
of
vision
course.
for Stadia is to reduce the friction between getting excited about a game and playing a game. On Stadia, you just need to click on a YouTube video or link, and you can be playing your game instantly. Compare that to today, where gamers are all too familiar with things like this.
Oh,
With Stadia, this
terrible.
waiting game will be a thing
that
of
about my
the
Xbox.
past. The power of instant access is magical and has
Updating.
already transformed the music and movie industries, and with Stadia, it is now available at the highest level of gaming. But wouldn't it be even more magical if that same game and
oh no!
that same instant experience could be available across any
Small
screen
buffer in
type
there.
in your life? A key benefit of our platform is that a single creative vision and a single code base can now be enjoyed instantly across any screen. At launch, we'll support being able to play
What is
games
that?
across
Hey,
desktops,
Google.
laptops, TV,
Fix your stream.
tablets, and phones.
Here are some
This
results.
new generation of gaming
Oh,
is
it fixed.
not a box. With Stadia, the data center is your
That was on
platform.
there, right?
There is no console that limits the developer's creative ideas, and no console that limits where gamers can play. And we're about to show this to you now. This is not a concept, it's not a test, this is real.
That's a demo.
I'd like to bring my friend Khaled to the stage to show you this working.
See, I did Project Stream last year. It was awesome. I hardly noticed any input lag. I was getting 1080p, 60 FPS on like everything. It was sweet. But
So imagine you've just discovered that game for the first time, you're running it on the Chrome browser, and here it is on a Pixelbook running the Chrome OS. There is basically no hardware acceleration on that laptop whatsoever, and the game is running directly from our data center.
it's like a $120.
It's then easy and instantaneous to move that same game experience from exactly that moment onto the phone, here on a Pixel 3 XL.
That is cool too. Swapping devices and going right to where
Once
you were before,
again,
that's cool.
no loss in quality, and we can go straight onto the desktop PC. We actually went to buy the least powerful PC we could find here. and we could enjoy the same vision that the developer had, the same high-quality 1080p stream at 60 frames per second, and the full game
the
vision,
seamless transition between devices like that
with
your game.
And then
I mean, that's
again
obviously because
seamless
it's all
to
in
go
the cloud,
from
but that's so cool.
running on our
That is really
PC to running on a tablet. In this case, once again, running the Chrome OS on a Pixel slate.
That is pretty cool. I mean, you got to admit, obviously this is in an ideal condition, but that's pretty cool.
And then finally, we then move seamlessly to the TV. And so this TV is accessed using this, which is a Chromecast Ultra HDMI streamer. Yeah. There is no console required to reach this experience. Thanks, Khaled. Great presentation.
That's pretty cool. In an ideal setup, that's pretty cool. Like in my house, I have a business line internet.
Welcoming any and all players is fundamental to Stadia, where you can try with your friends on devices you already own. And as such, we're also enabling players to use your existing USB controller or mouse and keyboard when playing Stadia on a laptop or PC. By eliminating that friction, that barrier to entry, we will make it simple and easy for players who want to try Stadia for the first time. But of course, we will have our own controller that has been uniquely designed to enhance the experience for the Stadia player. I'd like to introduce you to the newest member of the Google hardware family, the Stadia controller.
So it's basically like those mock-ups with smoother. It's like an Xbox controller design. It's like a combination of Xbox and DualShock.
This is your gateway to the best of Stadia.
Okay.
It enables you to access the full Stadia experience, and there are many advantages to the Stadia controller. And the first is that it will connect through Wi-Fi directly to the game that is running in the Google data center. The Stadia controller identifies which screen or device you want to play on and links it with your game session running in the cloud, ensuring the highest possible performance and the best experience for players.
So you're not linking it through the hardware, you're linking it through your router.
In addition to the standard functions you'd expect to see on a modern game controller, the Stadia controller features two very important new buttons. The capture button is for sharing and saving your game experience back out to YouTube. The gamer can choose to share their experiences starting with a click of this button to themselves, to their friends, or to the world. They are in control.
So you can like hit or do a one button, I want to stream this? That'd be kind of cool.
Pressing this button allows players to immediately access the controller's built-in microphone so they can get help from the assistant for special in-game features integrated by developers.
They have Google Assistant on there? Of course they do.
Our goal with Stadia is to help fuel developer creativity at every level. And next, we'll take a look at the incredible computing power we have custom built into our data centers that will further accelerate innovation. I'd like to introduce my friend and colleague, the head of engineering for Stadia, Majd Bakar.
Thanks so much, Bill. Let's look at the real-time computing power we have put into our data centers that will change how we view what a game platform can be.
It's got to be top-of-the-line stuff.
In order to deliver an amazing experience for your games, we needed to bring powerful computing closer to users. We've built Stadia's architecture on top of the Google Data Center network, the same network that has been delivering search results to your fingertips in milliseconds for more than 20 years. The network consists of fiber optic links and subsea cables between hundreds of points of presence and more than 7,500 edge node locations around the globe, all connected with our network backbone.
Sure.
Stadia is built on infrastructure that no one else has. More edge nodes mean the compute resources are closer to players, which results in better performance. We took that proven model and infused it with custom-designed, purpose-built gaming hardware, creating the most powerful and connected gaming platform. Each of Stadia's data center is composed of interconnected racks that deliver the high-power graphics, memory, and storage needed to run the most demanding games. Only with Google can you apply the power and flexibility of data centers to game development. This architecture is the foundation for this new generation of gaming. We've been testing this technology privately within Google for years. For our initial public test with Project Stream in 2018, we delivered up to 1080p 60 frames per second with stereo audio. When Stadia launches, we will have increased performance significantly to support resolutions up to 4K
if you have
at
the
60
internet, you can
frames
get
per
4K
second.
and HDR. Wow. So if you
With
have a good
HDR
enough connection,
and
you can
surround
get
sound.
that. That's pretty cool.
And in the future, we'll be able to stream games in up to 8K resolution.
Jeez. When is that coming to YouTube?
We know there are not that many homes or TVs in the world that have 8K today.
Yeah.
But we also know the widespread adoption of 8K is inevitable.
Yeah.
We have
like
built our
20 years
platform
from
to
now.
scale up with the highest performing networks to deliver the visual quality demanded by future generation of gamers and game developers.
That's pretty cool.
What's even more exciting
Future-proof
is that
in their
in
streaming
addition to
service.
the stream you get as a player, there is a second simultaneous stream at 4K 60 frames per second that you can choose to share directly to YouTube from the Stadia data center.
Wow.
Meaning your gaming memories will be saved at the highest possible quality.
Okay. That's cool.
Stadia is not constrained by
that.
the limitation of traditional console
So
systems.
if you want to record gameplay footage
Instead,
and stuff,
we have built a truly flexible,
it doesn't have to, like,
scalable, and modern
hurt your
platform
side of things.
that allows us to push performance beyond what was previously considered
so
possible.
it's doing like 2 individual streams of the same thing.
This architecture gives us even more flexibility to scale. And thanks to fast transfer speeds between the Stadia instances in our data center, our platform can connect instances together to dynamically expand the capabilities along with the need of your games. As a developer, you're used to being forced to tone down your creative ambition that are limited by the hardware. But our vision with Stadia is that the processing resources available will scale up to match your imagination. In this new generation, the data center is your platform.
Sure. I mean, it's a
We
streaming
partnered with
service,
our
of course
friends
it is.
at AMD to build a custom GPU. I'd like to personally thank Dr. Lisa Su, AMD President and CEO, who is here with us today.
Hey, Aiden,
Lisa
gotta
and
be
her
quiet if
team
you're playing down
helped
here,
us
bud.
design a chip to bring you more than 10 teraflops of power, which we've coupled with a custom CPU to make up a single Stadia instance. And here's how the graphical power of Stadia compares to the top 2 consoles in the market. You can see, thank you.
I mean, that looks really impressive. We don't know what PlayStation 5 and the next Xbox are going to have, but that's definitely a
You
step
can see
up.
that a single Stadia instance is a big step forward.
That's a single instance.
10.7 teraflops is more powerful than the top 2 consoles of the previous
Remember, guys,
generation
that's a
combined.
single instance. That's a single instance.
Stadia will be using the Linux operating system and the Open Graphics API, Vulkan. And when it comes to game engines, we are excited to announce that we have partnered with Unreal, who will be fully supporting the Stadia platform.
Of course. You gotta have
We are
Unreal
also
Engine.
partnering with Unity to bring full support for the 2 most popular and familiar game engines to our development community.
YouTube Game
And
Unbox,
we're
there's no more
empowering
content for you.
developers with an amazing array
just be
of
lots of
familiar
customized
middleware
Google
that you
controllers,
already
right?
use to power your game development, including the most popular physics engine, Havoc.
Yeah.
And here's a list of our partners now. And of course, this list will continue to grow over time.
Sure.
With this suite of tools, game development can evolve as quickly as the imagination of content creators. To achieve that,
I love how
we're
they include
providing
Visual
multiple
Studio.
ways
It's a
to make
Microsoft
games
product.
for Stadia.
Microsoft Visual
You can
Studio
develop
supports
on
it.
our cloud, your cloud,
Like, of
and
course,
at
you
your
have to
desk.
support Visual Studio. Visual Studio is how
Our
some of these games
goal
are made.
is to make Stadia the most
That'd be weird
flexible
if you didn't
development
support
environment
Visual Studio.
ever put together.
Anyways, sorry, that's just...
And that power
I know
is,
they're
of
talking
course,
to
used to
developers who
create the
use that
best
stuff.
content. Our first guest is from a company known for creating the most sophisticated and impressive gaming experiences in the industry that always demand the most of every system they run on. We had the chance to give our friends at id early access to our tools and technology.
Thank you,
It's my
Flying Lemur.
absolute pleasure to
$199
welcome to the
I
stage
appreciate
executive
the
producer
support.
from id, Marty Stratton.
Hi, everyone. Thanks so much for having us here, Phil and Majd. I'm honored to be part of a team at id that has spent more than 25 years on the bleeding edge of technical innovation. When we first met with Google about game streaming, frankly, we were skeptical about how it would work, and in particular, how it could work with a game like Doom. However, we recognized not just your ability and resources to make game streaming a reality,
that's what I want to hear about.
but more importantly, the passion to support a game as fast, fluid, and uncompromising as Doom. After all, if you're going to prove to the world that you can stream games from the cloud, what better proof than Doom? And if you're going to prove to a developer that you're serious about building a robust platform, what better team than id, where we push every platform to its limit. In fact, back in 2016, Doom was the first AAA game released on Vulkan. And because Stadia is built on that same Vulkan API, it didn't take us more than a few weeks to get our upcoming sequel, Doom Eternal, looking and playing great on Stadia. Built on the fun and sense of power players expect from the series, Doom Eternal is a pure and unfiltered action FPS experience. You play as an unstoppable hero sent to destroy hell's fiercest demons across an expanding universe of unbelievable locations. We couldn't be happier to be bringing Doom Eternal to Stadia, and are thrilled to announce that the game will be capable of running at true 4K resolution with HDR color at an unrelenting 60 frames per second.
Nice.
We actually can't wait to show you more of Doom Eternal very soon, in fact. We have the full game running on Stadia, live from Google data centers, and you can see it today at our developer session. It starts at 12:30 over in West Hall.
Wow.
You won't want to miss it. Thank you to Google and Stadia team for giving us this opportunity to share a bit about Doom Eternal.
Cool.
Thanks so much.
That's pretty cool.
Thanks so much, Marty. It's a privilege to work with id and your incredible engineers and creators. For anyone who knows the franchise, you know Doom Eternal will look and play amazingly well on our platform. It was important for us to partner with a developer like id so that we could prove, not just to ourselves, but to the entire industry, that our platform is capable of supporting the most demanding titles. And Doom will be running on a single Stadia GPU. The fundamental benefit of our cloud-native infrastructure is that developers will be able to take advantage of hardware and power in ways never before possible. And that includes taking advantage of the power of multiple GPUs at once. We've asked our friends at UL Benchmarks, makers of 3D Mark, to put Stadia to the test. In this video, you can see some comparison points showing the difference between our single GPU and multiple GPUs. What you see here on the left of the line is running on a single 10.7 teraflop GPU. And on the right of the line, you can see the same content running on Stadia using multiple GPUs. In this demo, we're highlighting real-time fluid deformation. Accurate water simulation is one of the most compute-intensive effects for games. And it's a powerful example of what Stadia is capable of. And I'm so excited to see where game developers go with this kind of performance. When we designed Stadia, our goal was to solve many of the pain points that we've heard about from developers, particularly those related to multiplayer. In traditional platforms, the client and server are connected by the unpredictable internet, and therefore the multiplayer experience is limited by the client with the slowest or poorest quality connection. But with Stadia, that game client and server both remain on Google's networking backbone, resulting in predictable low latency, reliable connectivity, and data security, since no traffic gets exposed to the public internet. Developers who use Google's data centers can create a predictable multiplayer experience that scales to an order of magnitude greater than anything enjoyed by gamers today. What that means is a synchronized state across a very high volume of players, where innovations like distributed physics can be built into your games, where battle royale games could go from hundreds of players today to thousands of players tomorrow. And yes, no cheating and no hacking. Google has always believed that the world is a better place when we are able to connect without barriers. And as a new generation game platform, Stadia will, of course, embrace full cross-platform play.
Wow. Okay.
Developers will have the ability to enable cross-platform multiplayer for all players, and even bring game saves and progression across as well.
Wow.
I'd now like to introduce a member of Stadia's R&D team who are pushing the envelope, bringing the
So
best
if, like,
of
you're already
Google
using
to
an
game
Xbox.
developers. Please welcome to the stage our lead
You
designer
can just bring
for
your
research
save
and
over to
development at Stadia, Erin
and
Hoffman-John.
bring it back.
Thank you, Phil. One of our team's favorite comments about Project Stream was a tweet that described Stadia's technology as the work of wizards. And we are incredibly fortunate to work with wizards every day, bending their magic toward games. I'd like to take you through a few technologies and features that we've been working on that are going to enhance the game development process for developers big and small. The first one is focused on multiplayer. Stadia not only provides high-performing multiplayer experiences from player to player, but also allows developers to create new, gorgeous gaming environments. Our friends at Tangent Games have been working with us on a technical proof of concept that you can see here behind me. They spent a few short weeks creating this beautiful multiplayer world with a persistent, massively destructible environment. It is a raw demonstration of scale and power using the best of Stadia technology, where every piece of the environment in this multiplayer world is destructible using real-time rigid body physics. Using Google's unique infrastructure, developers can create games built to house hundreds of players with low latency and perfect synchronization. This demo will be available on the show floor if you want to check it out this week.
Cool.
As we were building the platform, we collaborated with individual developers, but we also thought about trends in game development. When we thought about our most treasured gaming memories, something kept coming back, something that we'd lost. When modern games start to push the boundaries of current hardware, rendering 2 or more scenes simultaneously becomes too resource-intensive, and so split-screen couch co-op has been fading from gaming. But when all of your clients are in the cloud, couch multiplayer has new life again through Stadia.
That's true.
And what we're calling Stream Connect.
That's pretty cool.
In the past, the resources required to execute split-screen co-op have required developers to sacrifice more of their creative goals. With Stream Connect, we're making it possible to realize split-screen multiplayer without any performance penalty. Behind me, you'll see a technology proof of concept that we built at Google. It's called the Night Forest, a co-op demo with asymmetric player roles. Here we have 2 players, one hunter on the ground and a supporting aerial player, set up in a standard split-screen view. Each of these screens is powered by a separate Stadia instance. But what would happen to squad-based games if developers could allow players to call up the views of their teammates on demand, or utilize any polygonal surface as a receiver for another player's video stream? Stream Connect makes this possible with extremely little effort on the part of the developer, bringing dynamic squad-based gaming into easy reach even for very small teams. We've shown you 3 views, but we can keep going. We can keep adding streams and shape how they're shown to the player, giving a designer not one, but many cameras into a scene. Now imagine if you could go beyond seeing into players' worlds. What if you could interact with them? Here we have our streams configured into a command center, where a 4th player can coordinate the movements of our drone, scientist, and hunter characters. Now that coordinator is reaching into the world and placing a beacon to call attention to a particular location, seen instantly by the other players. Stream Connect is just one of the ways Google is working to support developers in creating more immersive and creative experiences, whether bringing back effortless couch-based co-op or inventing entirely new multiplayer games.
Yeah, I agree.
Our next technology demo
Flame fire
focuses on the
games.
power of the Google Cloud and machine learning,
Like
and how they can have an impact on
squad-based
accelerating
games. That would be
developer
really cool
creativity.
for.
Every developer feels the burn in pre-production to get to a game's magic sooner. We think Google's machine learning technology might have some answers. Here to talk about it is a developer known for creating some amazing, stylish, and celebrated independent games, including Deadlight, Rhyme, and The Invisible Hours. Please welcome Chairwoman of Tequila Works, Luz Sancho.
Thank you, Erin. I am very excited to be here for the unveiling of the Stadia platform. There are so many different benefits that Stadia delivers to all developers, big and small, and particularly for a studio like ours. At Tequila Works, we are very proud of the art styles of our games. It's something we spend a lot of time perfecting. Our development cycles typically last 24 months, and as you can imagine, a large part of that time is dedicated to defining the art style of the game. We are particularly proud of Rhyme.
Yeah.
Its visual identity created
Good game.
a lasting impression with our players.
Good game. Too bad
it took us a long time to get
Too bad
that
at launch
final
on Switch
style.
it wasn't great, but
That's
they
why
fixed
we
it.
were so excited to hear from Google about one of the tools they are making available, an amazing tool that will dramatically influence and ease this process. With Style Transfer ML, Google is applying the science of machine learning to art visualization.
Style transfer is a machine learning technology that runs on the video frame created by the game. All of this happens in real time on a Stadia instance. We built this demo to show you what it can do. We start with a gray box world and take any image we want, in this case, Kandinsky's yellow, red, blue, and the model does the rest. Throw it Starry Night, and you have another style.
Okay.
Give it scratch art, and you get this.
That is cool.
We're doing our part to empower the artist inside of every developer.
Wow.
The R&D team iterated through hundreds of art styles testing the technology.
That is
one of
cool.
our favorites came from an old friend.
That's pretty cool. You gotta admit, guys, that is pretty cool. From a game developer standpoint.
What excites us and some of our partners so far is how many playable art styles we can create just by feeding it more and more images. It inspires and empowers our artists to get the visions in their heads into interactive environments in a whole new way. And this is just the beginning.
We are using Style Transfer ML in our studio today, and we are blown away by the impact it's having on our latest creations. You will see it. This could really change everything. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Especially if, like, you develop the game on that platform, and then you're able to take what you make and put it on other platforms like PlayStation. That might be really cool.
With Style Transfer, our goal is to help developers find the magic of their games quicker.
That would be cool.
Check out Style Transfer
if, like, you could develop it on there and then transfer it to another platform. That would be sweet.
Creators inspire us to bring the best of Google to games.
Wow.
And creators are at the heart of Stadia. It isn't just what they create, but how those moments are experienced by players, moments that resonate for generations to come. The last feature we want to introduce today is another special experience made possible by the cloud. It's called State Share. And here to talk about it from Q Games is Dylan Cuthbert.
State Share.
Hey everyone, it's great to be here with all of you today. As a veteran game developer, I love how creators on YouTube have brought our games to life. But I've always wished those experiences could be more social and even more fun. And I'm extremely excited by what I've learned from Google about bringing new ways to share a game's replayable moments. With a new technology called State Share, developers can let a player instantly share a playable moment from a game. This could include the world state, the player's position, items they're carrying, anything the developer wants to pack into a shareable moment. The game's state can be encoded into a link that tells Stadia where to pick up the game. This could be sent to one player, or it could be shared with thousands at the same time on YouTube, through email, apps, messaging, or wherever links can go. To me, this totally changes how I think about the experiences for players. I can create moments specifically for this kind of sharing. Challenges to beat my incredible speedruns, or chances for other players to also experience those same tough boss battles. I can build as many shareable moments as I want and let the internet turn my whole game into an infinitely replayable treasure hunt. I was so intrigued with the possibilities of State Share that I designed a brand new game around it, and it's the biggest title ever for Q Games. Right now, it's still under wraps.
So,
but I can't wait to reveal more about this game later this year.
This is like...
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
This is like save states, but in the cloud, where like you just share a URL. You know, no one has to download an emulator or anything to make it work.
State share is one more way that
I mean,
Stadia is
state
working
share,
to empower developers with
you know,
entirely
save
new
states.
tools that embrace a player's desire
I
to
think
discover,
that's pretty neat.
share, and
That's
build
pretty
a
neat.
community.
It's a neat
We're
thing
extremely excited by
to
the
have like
reception
save
it's gotten from our
states
early
that
partners
you
so
could
far.
share with people with just a link.
And with that,
That's
I'd like
kinda
to
cool.
introduce the head of gaming at YouTube to tell you what Stadia means for content creators. Please welcome Ryan Wyatt.
I'm a YouTube content creator. What's it mean for
I'm
me?
very excited to be here at the unveiling of Stadia. As you've heard, Stadia is about delivering the best developer experience so that the best games can be made. But we're also committed to making sure we have the best creator experience so that the entire community gets stronger together. YouTube is where people come to watch gaming. More than 200 million gamers come to YouTube every single day to engage with their favorite games and creators. And they come because of the community of gaming creators and viewers who have turned YouTube into the gaming platform that it is.
Are you going to increase our ad revenues?
We're always looking for ways to strengthen the connection between creators and viewers, and Stadia is designed to bring them together like never before.
Gaming YouTube channels get $3
Gaming has always been the backbone
less
of YouTube since the
CPM
platform
than any
first was
other
founded in
creating
2005.
method on YouTube.
And one thing YouTube gaming creators want is to engage with their fans. That will always be the most important thing to them. That's why over 50 billion hours of gaming content was watched on YouTube last year alone. And to just give you an idea of how much 50 billion hours is, you could walk to Pluto and back more than a dozen times. Stadia is focused on empowering both creators and viewers to achieve new heights by breaking barriers of content capture and creating unique ways to engage with and grow a creator's audience. Established creators will have new ways to engage and monetize on YouTube with Stadia features. And with aspiring creators, we're going to break down the barrier of entry and capturing content by giving you the ability to highlight, live stream, and capture directly from Stadia. We've already seen the idea of any YouTube link being a direct access point into the game, and that is a huge opportunity for both big and small creators. We're empowering creators to forge deeper connections with their audience, and one of those ways will be to make it easier to actually game with them. Often when you're watching a stream, you find yourself wishing you could be in there playing alongside with your favorite creators. On traditional platforms, you'd have to fire up your console or your PC and just hope that you get matched up with them. However, with Stadia and a new feature called Crowd Play, you'll be able to simply click a button displayed right in the stream and jump in and play with YouTube creators that you're watching. Take a look at the video behind me. It's a live stream of NBA 2K. The person watching can simply click the link and be placed into the lobby for the next game.
Okay.
If you think about it, Crowd Play can act like an all-new lobby system for games.
That's kind of cool.
And with Stadia, YouTube becomes the ultimate discovery and engagement tool for content. And of course, YouTube creators will have full management capabilities over
That's kind of
feature.
cool.
To all the game developers, publishers, and the millions of YouTube content creators out there, soon we'll have more information to share on these engagement tools and how we'll be working with you to connect with and build your communities. I'd now like to introduce a friend of mine to the stage. He has over 11 million subscribers on his channel, The Game Theorist, and he and his wife, Stephanie, have often been advocates for the creator community. So we were delighted to talk to him about Stadia and what it means for creators. Please welcome to the stage my friend, Matt Pat.
Wow. All right.
Thanks, Ryan. It's an incredible honor to be here today. Now, for us creators, our audience is our lifeblood. Whether we're breaking down the real-life science of the fictional world of Fallout, or diving into the theories behind bending the ink machine, or simply streaming gameplay on our live stream channel, GT Live, we're always looking for new ways to connect and engage with our audience. Which is why, when I first met with the Stadia team, I was floored by the impact that it can have for not just gamers,
a lot of you guys don't like
but
MatPat.
also creators.
I like MatPat. So.
Stadia not only empowers me to easily create and share my work, but it also unlocks completely new ways for me to build a stronger bond with my audience. Crowd play, for example, gives our audiences the chance to instantly jump into a game with us, and then the creator can feature them live on the stream in real time. Another feature that I'm incredibly excited about is state share. Here, the possibilities are literally endless. Live streaming horror games, for instance, has been one of the most popular formats for live streaming on YouTube since its inception. But now with state share, you can actually take this to the next level by letting the people who are just watching you replicate the exact same scenario you just played through in-game. Like that impossible moment when you're out of med kits and you suddenly have a zombie breathing down your neck. Imagine the endless breathing down your neck. Imagine the endless variations that creators can layer on top of all their favorite games by specifically designing challenges oriented to their unique audience. For creators, you suddenly become a game maker yourself. Creating challenges through state share allows us to continue creating content
I'm not a good
for all
public
your favorite
face.
games long after the game itself
You go with
has been
someone like
completed.
MatPat because he's respected.
And on the other hand, the
he's
audience
good
now
looking,
can reconnect
and he
with all
speaks
their
well.
favorite games in completely
You don't put
new,
someone like me on
exciting,
stage
and
that
fresh ways.
has the typical
But of
gamer
course,
shtick
also
going and
as
being a
gamer,
fat person
I'm
sitting in a
looking
chair
forward
behind a
to
camera.
tremendously all the new possibilities
You
of
never present
gameplay
that publicly.
Stadia opens up and that can be built only for Stadia. I mean, think about this. 1,000-player battle royale matches. Incredible new graphical possibilities. And of course, all of this is available across any screen. Literally, I could just pick up my phone and start playing exactly where I left off on my laptop, even while sitting in an audience of a keynote like this one. I hope you're not playing right now. A lot of exciting stuff happening on stage, but you could do it. Stadia just truly unlocks new opportunities to create, share, and engage across YouTube. I am personally thrilled about what Stadia brings to the table, how it unites technology and entertainment in completely new ways that we have never seen before, and in ways that can only be possible through the combined power of Google
You leave the word
and
good
YouTube.
looking for women to say.
So I thank the Stadia team for having
He's
me
more
in here
attractive
today.
than I am, let me
I
put
can't
it
wait
that
to see what else you guys have in store.
It's
And
not
I'll see
just
the rest of
women.
you
Men
on
can
the
be
floors
attracted to
of
him, too.
GDC.
So my only problem with that is all MatPat did.
Thanks,
They had
Ryan
MatPat
and
come on
MatPat.
stage. He just
Connecting players and creators
regurgitated
to their
everything we've
favorite
seen
game
for like the
is
past
core to
hour.
our vision. We've shown you how YouTube
He
and
didn't really
Stadia
need to be on
offer
stage.
the ability
He didn't
for
give us
gamers
any new
to connect
information.
with content creators and game developers in extraordinary ways. There is another Stadia integration with YouTube that we're really excited about. Designers love creating challenge, but as games reach more and more people, the design problem of creating a perfect challenge gets more and more difficult. When a player is stuck on a level or puzzle and desperately wants that next beat in the story or the breathtaking views in the next level, what do? Today, they have to leave the game, fire up YouTube, find the right video, scrub to the right part of that video, and watch how it's done. With Stadia, that help will be just a button press away. Take this example from our friends at Crystal Dynamics with Rise of the Tomb Raider. When
You
the
might want to
player
fix
gets
your
stuck on
stream
a
when you're
level,
talking about a
like
streaming
me,
service.
Instead of grabbing a laptop or a phone, they just need to push the button on the Stadia controller to get help from the Google.
To be fair, I never experienced anything
No
like that when I was
distractions,
doing Project Stream last year.
No need to take your eyes off the game, and no secondary devices needed.
Could just be a YouTube compression issue.
It's another deep way in which we're connecting players with the games they love. Stadia is about removing barriers for players to get to their favorite content and moments. With Stadia, any link can be an access point to the game. So for a developer, the entire internet can become your store. Whether it's from our Stadia store, text messages, Reddit, Facebook, Twitter, Discord, Google search results, YouTube videos, Gmail, or from the Google Play Store, gamers are going to be able to find, discover, and enjoy your games anywhere they are, and easily share them with their friends.
Right there in the App Store.
It's a truly revolutionary way to discover your games. Stadia will be home to a variety of games, and we're happy to say that we will offer comprehensive parental controls for all content.
Yeah, gotta have that.
We've already shipped development hardware to more than 100 studios around the world, and more than 1,000 creatives and engineers are hard at work bringing their games to our platform. In addition to partnering with developers big and small, I'm also thrilled to announce that today we are forming Stadia Games and Entertainment, which will build experiences designed exclusively for Stadia.
Here we go, here we
as
go.
Google's own first-party game studio.
Here we go. All right. You gotta have exclusives, man. Gotta have exclusives. Here we go.
And we've recently been joined by one of the industry's most successful executive producers to lead that organization. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the new head of Stadia Games and Entertainment, Jade Raymond.
All right. Wow. Here we go. Are you going to announce any games today?
Thank you, Phil. Thank you, everyone. I am so honored to be here at the unveiling of Stadia. In my career, I've been lucky enough to work with some of the most talented and passionate developers in the world. Passion is at the root of all great games, and it's what motivated me to join Google. What I love about games is that we continue to redefine what a game is. When I was 12, I saw the holodeck on an episode of Star Trek. And even though the games I played at the time were side-scrolling, pixel-based kind of games like Mega Man, it was obvious to me that one day games would take place in fully immersive worlds. Today, you have seen some incredible tech. And hopefully, like me, you now believe that we're on the brink of a huge revolution in gaming. This is good. One that will unlock a whole new level of creativity for developers. There are no limits to the human imagination. Now that the data center is your platform, the processing power is limitless as well. I'm excited to announce that as the head of Stadia Games and Entertainment, I will not only be bringing first-party game studios to reimagine the new generation of games. Our team will also be working with external developers to make all of the bleeding-edge Google technology you have seen here today available to partner studios big and small. We are committed to going down the bold path.
Ren Zenas, shout out Ren.
What is working best.
Watching me since I ran Zelda Informer, man. There's not very many of you guys
so that
around.
we can take games to the next level together. The way I see it, there has never been a more exciting time to be a developer. And Stadia will be a driving force defining the future of games and entertainment. Thank you.
All right. It would have been nice to see a game announcement, though.
And a very warm welcome to Google.
They must have just started making games.
With Stadia, our goal is to combine the world of people who play games and the world of people who watch games into one global community powered by the best of Google. We've shared a lot today. With Stadia, you'll be able to build your games backed by Google technology like Google Assistant, ML, and TensorFlow. You will be able to deliver your games to more gamers across the globe through Chrome, Chromecast, and Pixel. And you'll be able to connect with the biggest community of gamers and YouTube content creators. So, how do you get involved? For developers who want to create content for Stadia, we welcome you to go to stadia.dev, where you can apply to get access to development tools. If you want to partner with our team at Google to help bring your game to market, we have Stadia Partners, a program designed to give you the resources your team needs to make something great.
How do you monetize it, though?
And for players who want to be the first to learn more, you can go to stadia.com and follow us on these social channels. So, when will players be able to experience Stadia?
And how much? And how?
I'm thrilled to announce that Stadia is launching this year, 2019.
Okay. So no release date, but this year.
We will launch first in the US, Canada, the UK, and most of Europe.
Okay.
It's been my privilege today to introduce Stadia on behalf of the thousands of Googlers who've worked tirelessly to bring this vision to life. This is the first step in the journey, and we'll be connecting with you again in the summer to share more details on the games you'll get to play at launch and beyond.
Okay.
Thank you
Yeah,
very
we're
much
not getting
for
pricing
gathering
now.
around with all of us today.
We'll find out.
With Stadia, we can all dream bigger and together build a
So we're not
playground
going to find out
for
pricing
every
or anything
imagination.
until
Thank you.
the end of, or until summer. So. Is that it? Yeah. Okay. I think that's it. All right. Let's reset the stage here a little bit. Let me turn off my my stuff here. My background thing, because it annoys me. So, what are you guys thinking here? What are you guys thinking of the Google console? Ooh, my hair's all messed up from that. What are you guys thinking here? Oh, the Google console, the Google experience here with Stadia. I'll just give some initial impressions I have right now. One, I think this is really cool technology. Doesn't replace traditional boxes, of course, because traditional boxes work everywhere regardless of internet, so it's not going to replace them. It could work in tandem with them, which I think is really, really neat. The ability to do crossplay is huge, so that means that developers don't have to leave like their Xbox fans or like the Switch fans behind. So say you brought like Rocket League, you know, that has crossplay to this, you wouldn't have to like have it cut off from those consoles. You can still do crossplay, and it looks like if you know, Microsoft and Nintendo will allow it, cross saves. So if you want to bring your saves over to Stadia and then bring the save from Stadia back to, you know, Xbox and Switch, that's possible. Notice I'm saying Xbox and Switch because Sony is still, like, they have crossplay, but they're very strict about who they let enjoy it. It's going to be interesting how this all functions. It releasing this year is really a bit of a shocker. I don't know why to say it's completely shocking because we did get to test it last year, and the test for me was practically flawless. So it'll be interesting to see how this works end of this year, or I assume it'll be end of this year, because they said they'll have more information in the summer. So in the summer, I expect them to bring us the you know, announcements of all the different games that'll be there at launch, like he said. And I think that's when we're going to start getting some of those first-party announcements too. They noticed today at the Game Developers Conference, it doesn't matter. They don't have to announce games at the Game Developers Conference. The Game Developers Conference is about the developers. That entire crowd of people were developers, right? So some people might have wanted them to, like, I was hoping that they would announce a first-party game, but why? Like, they don't want to outshine the developers that are there, right? So later this summer, it'll be probably an event more targeted at consumers, and that's where they're going to announce first-party games. And I'm sure they'll have at least one first-party game ready at launch. And Jade, it's a hell of a get for them to lead the. She's been behind some major games in this industry, so that's a really good get for them. Hopefully that works out and they build some amazing games on this platform. I think that's maybe the most exciting thing to me about this platform. Forget, like, a lot of people, especially at my channel, are going to debate, like, oh, is this going to replace traditional consoles? Like, they're saying no boxes, this and that. You know, is game streaming ready? Can my internet handle it? I kind of want to set that aside for a moment and just think, what possibilities can exist making games on a platform like this versus what you can do with traditional systems? A platform that they say no limits. Realistically, there's always a limit, but the limit is so high that it's almost impossible to reach, right? It's interesting. I mean, obviously, you can really only take advantage of the no limits if you make it exclusively for, you know, this platform. But it's interesting, isn't it? I think it's really, really interesting. Now, the big thing is going to be, developers' biggest questions right now will probably be, how do we make money on this platform? Great, you told us how to make games. How do we make money? Like, oh, they can click on a thing at the end of a video and it just starts up the game, but how? I mean, it's going to be a subscription service, of course. Thank you, Jumble, for subscribing. It's going to be a subscription service, of course, but the question is, how much is that subscription service going to cost? Is there going to be tiers to that subscription service? It's going to be interesting to see how the numbers all break down for this in the future. I don't know what to think personally about the pricing structure until it's here. Developers aren't going to know how they make money until it's here. Alan Kyle, thank you so much for subscribing. It's interesting. One thing's for sure is we'll be paying attention to this as the year goes on. They mentioned summer, so potentially that could mean E3 or another Google-only event maybe after E3. But obviously we're hearing about it in the summer, so that's really cool. As I said, if they want to be, like, if they really want to, like, inject into the hearts of gamers, like, announcing, in the next couple of months that they're going to do a press conference at E3 to replace what Sony bailed up, and now Google's here, and they have, like, all these big announcements, that would be, if they have a lot of games to announce, that would be huge. So it'll be interesting to see if they take advantage of that platform where they can reach the more traditional gamer. Or maybe they'll just do their own thing. Who knows? It's going to be interesting, being able to, like, seamlessly, like, one thing I liked was, like, this is something you can only do with cloud technology as well. It's like seamlessly taking the game from my phone to my computer, to my TV, to wherever in the house and keep the same save and just keep going. That's really cool. Pricing is going to be a big thing. Minimum requirements for internet connection is going to be a big thing. Now, for Project Stream, the minimum requirement was 10 down. It was like 10 down and 5 up was the minimum requirement for Project Stream, and I actually played it on less than minimum requirements and still didn't have issues. So I think I'm not going to say you won't have issues if you have less than the minimum requirements on internet speed, but for at least Assassin's Creed Odyssey, that was a single-player experience, it really wasn't an issue. But if you're going to do it, like a Fortnite or, have a battle royale with thousands of people, because that's going to exist someday on this platform, which can't exist currently on current platforms because they can't handle that kind of load. So I think it's interesting. I think some games will always be held back because they'll still be taking traditional consoles in mind when they're developing. But some games are going to say screw it and make it only for this platform. And the exclusives on this platform are going to be very, very interesting to see how it's built, how pretty it gets. I know they did that water demo thing. I don't know. Something about that water demo felt a little fishy. Some people were, maybe that was the point where people were mentioning Digital Foundry is going to get involved in that examination because it looked like what they were doing with the water on the left side of the screen versus the right side of the screen. I don't remember gaming water looking like that on current gen systems. Do you? I mean, maybe on Switch, but they weren't showing a Switch demo. That demo that they were showing is actually that one of those test marking demos, 3D Mark demos that you do on PC. I don't remember. I've ran 3D Mark on my computer with an i7 6700K and a GTX 1070, and that's not what the water looked like. So imagining having way more computational power than I have, and like having, comparing it to like what were they running that on? Like were they going back to running that thing on like an AMD FX chip with like a GT 330 or something? Like what were they running that 3D Mark demo on? Because that's not like on any sort of modern or current hardware on PC, that's not what that water looks like. So I don't. Now, there is one aspect that this won't replace. So people that worry that replacing home consoles, obviously, if you have internet and you can be like, oh look, maybe I don't need a PlayStation 4 or Xbox anymore. If all the games are going to be on here besides exclusives, then maybe I just need this service. That's fine. But one thing it won't replace is high frame rates. So if you notice throughout all of this, they talked about 8K, if you in the future 8K, if you have good enough internet, you can get 4K, blah blah blah, and they kept talking 60 FPS, 60 FPS, 60 FPS. Well, one thing that's really nice about PC gaming is you can set the settings to whatever you want and run at 120 plus FPS. So this isn't replacing PC gaming. I just want to make that very clear. Like, I guess high-end PC gaming or mid-range PC gaming, it's not replacing that because the joy of mid to high-range PC gaming is that you can get 1440p or you can get 1080p, 1440p, and 4K at way more than 60 FPS. So it's not going to replace that. But they seem to be targeting it more as like, hey, look, instead of a home console, why don't, if you have good internet, why don't you just play on the internet? It's an interesting proposition, that's for sure. Pricing is going to be key. You know, if they Netflix price it like $15 a month, I mean, that's pretty killer service for $15 a month. Are they going to tie it into YouTube Red? You know, with YouTube Red subscribers, are you going to be able to just like, you know, be able to use it off of YouTube Red? I'm very curious how developers make money on I've always been very curious how developers are going to make money on a streaming platform. And then you also have to consider xCloud. So xCloud is Microsoft. Like, Microsoft is doing something. So now we've seen shots fired by Google. What's Microsoft's fire back with xCloud? Interesting, because there's going to be Microsoft and Google are going to be bashing heads together on this streaming stuff. It's going to be interesting to see how Microsoft responds with xCloud and how the two services compare. Obviously, xCloud will have an advantage that there's already a pre-established platform with a back catalog of games that they could just put on xCloud, so that it'll have that advantage. But I mean, is Microsoft's infrastructure better than Google's? I don't know. For this kind of thing, I don't know. I'm not sure. I mean, we're talking about two of the best server farm companies in the world when you're referring to Microsoft and Google. So I'm not sure where people might stand on that. And entertainment. What is that about? Clearly more than just gaming. So the studio name and entertainment, I think they because the person who's running it is one of the best, you know, studio heads that exist in the industry. I think that, she probably had a say in the naming, and when you put the and entertainment on there, I think that's because she mentioned a few things. One, they're also part of developing the tools for people to use, and those tools might be able to be used for more than just gaming. And two, when they're making games, they might make things that they don't consider to be traditional games, like interactive experiences that are less games, more of a put on a VR headset and go for a ride on a roller coaster kind of thing, right? Like, so I think she is so much into like the traditional gaming space that she might want to differentiate between, okay, here's a game and here's an experience. Different things. But I'm just guessing and spitballing at this point. I don't honestly know, you know, who really knows except for the people at Google what they're doing. Microsoft servers aren't as good as Google or Amazon. Yeah, Microsoft servers are, you got to be careful when you say that. Microsoft servers haven't been known in the cloud computing space for public use, right? So they have like their own, like, you know, cloud stuff for public use, but it hasn't been known very well in the public space for use, right? Google and Amazon have public cloud stuff that everyone's been using for a long time. Microsoft, however, is well known in the business sector for their servers. Microsoft servers are used heavily in the business sector. So it's interesting. It's going to be interesting to see, because Microsoft will have to build a whole new infrastructure for it, and are they willing to compete and try to compete with Google? They obviously want to compete because they're creating their own streaming service. It'll be interesting to see, and there's going to be other streaming, like it won't just be Google and Microsoft competing for this. Amazon's rumored to be working on a similar service too. So when are they going to announce theirs? I think Google wants to get first to market. I think that's why they did the test last year, and they're saying, look, we're bringing it this year, whereas Microsoft might announce it this year, but it might not actually arrive this year, it might not be till next year. So Google wants to be first to market, and they're hoping by being first to market that they can become Netflix. They want to become Netflix. That's the goal for them. So, I don't know. It's like they showed off a lot of impressive stuff. Obviously, all in an ideal situation. Some of it, you know, hypothetically amazing. But, you know, we have to see it in a real-world test. I have to see it with my own two eyes. I got to take it out of my house, too. My house is not a good test case for an average consumer because I have a business line cable internet. I wish I had fiber. Don't have fiber. Fiber's not available here. But I have a business line cable internet, so I'm getting like 400, 450 down. I don't get much up. I only get 20 up. Time Warner Cable and Charters, stop limiting my upload. I don't know why they do that. But anyways, like my internet massively exceeds. Like I'll be able to do 4K 60, no problem on every device in my house. And obviously this is all at max settings because why wouldn't they be at max settings? These, like Assassin's Creed Odyssey was never built to run on 10.7 teraflop hardware, so like, of course it's maxed out. My God, 400 down, yeah. So like, that's why when people are like, oh man, your stream is lagging, but then like, it's not lagging on my end. Like, dude, guys, do you guys realize what I just did in that stream? I streamed a video at 4K, 60 FPS to my 4K screen, restreamed it out to you guys in 1080p and 60 FPS. Now, I probably could have restreamed it out at 4K. The problem isn't Google. The problem is that Streamlabs, I shouldn't say Streamlabs, OBS and XSplit, the two free options out there, do not handle 4K encoding very well. It's not an ability of my computer. It's not an ability of my internet. I can stream in 4K 60 no problem with paid platforms that don't have as many options for streams. Like the paid, that's weird. You pay for a platform to stream with, and then you don't get any of the Streamlabs stuff or any options to use any of the fun things that make our stream stand out. So we're kind of stuck at 1080 until OBS or XSplit can actually update their encoding to make it so we can stream in 4K. But otherwise, I could have streamed that here in 4K and restreamed everything back out to you in 4K. My camera right here can do 4K, although it only does 4K 30. The next camera I buy, it won't be for a couple of years, but it'll be able to do 4K 60 easy, if not 8K. But I don't know if I'll gonna dive into 8K anytime soon. That's a lot of file sizes to deal with. Who cares about Amazon? Google is way bigger. Amazon's massive, man. I mean, I know Google's a big deal, but you don't like let's just look at stock here. Google stock price, because Google banks profits. Amazon reinvests their money. So a share of Google right now is 1,100, and basically it's $1,200 for one share in Google, and it's on the rise. It's been on the rise today. That's not a surprise. It's funny. It rose right at the announcement, and then it tanked. It like dropped like $5 at one point during the thing, and then it bounced right back once they started talking about games. It's funny how the stock market works. Amazon stock price. Can you imagine if you got into Google? Yeah, like Amazon stock price is, not that far behind. 1,800 for a stock in Amazon. So Amazon's not a small company, man. They might be smaller than Google, but they're not like sitting massively behind. Microsoft is, though. Microsoft's value is not even close. Who else's value might be up there that could get into streaming? I mean, Apple? Is Apple going to make their own? Apple's at 187. But that's stock value. That's not company value. Like, Apple hit $1 trillion first. They're the first company in the world to be $1 trillion company. So stock values are not always the best way to determine how much money a company has, too. Interesting. Anyways. Let's see here. Yeah, Amazon's mobile and smart TV app store is already trash. What Amazon has going for it is because a lot of people get Amazon Prime for their free 2-day shipping, because you save a lot of money with Amazon Prime's 2-day shipping. Their Amazon Prime Video thing has been growing and growing and growing. It's not the greatest, but people don't get Amazon Prime for it. They get it for something else. So the fact that it's included in Amazon, I wish they need to include Amazon Music in it. They would make a killing if they included Amazon Music in it, because then people wouldn't have to have like Google Play Music or anything. They could just get free 2-day shipping and then have movies and music all tied into it. That would have been awesome. But I still watch some videos at 720p. Could care less about 4K. That's totally fine. There is no question Amazon Web Service is coming to cloud gaming. Question is with who? Yeah. Like Amazon's going to get in the cloud streaming thing someday. I just don't know what they're going to do. Stocks, I'll do that before PR, so don't buy stocks when a meeting is coming up. Buy after, when people sell off. Yeah. Google have WebM video code. Yes, they do. Oh yeah, that's a better way to compare company wealth, obviously. Like when you look at stock values, that could just tell you like how valuable a company is. It doesn't necessarily tell you their wealth, right? Like you can be, someone could value you. Like example, like Donald Trump, President Donald Trump could be valued at $1 billion or whatever, but it doesn't mean that he has $1 billion, right? Like, I mean, I think he is. I think he's a billionaire, but the point is like just because you're valued at something is different than what you actually have on hand. So like you could value Google, at $2,000 a share, but does that mean that they have more money on hand than Apple? No, it does not. So it's different. That's the difference between like wealth and value, because value can be a little subjective because you're like projecting future money you're gonna make. He doesn't have $1 billion while he's poor. I don't know how much money Donald Trump has. I don't really care. I don't really pay attention. Yep, they did mention low latency. Obviously, an important factor for gamers to ever consider a Switch. You have to have the latency on lockdown. I can admit, when I played Project Stream last year, it didn't feel any different than playing on the Xbox. It just looked prettier because I was running at higher settings. It literally didn't feel any different than playing on my Xbox. Granted, my house is not a good representative, but I did, like I said, I played it on a laptop on McDonald's Wi-Fi. Now, I couldn't get it to 1080p, but it did run at 720p 60 FPS. That's what's nice about the service. It can scale with your internet. Like, they could do 4K 60, but if you have crappy internet, you're getting 720p 60. For a lot of people, that's going to be just fine. No latency is theoretically impossible. Yeah. There's no such thing as no latency. Like they'll say with practically no latency, or they'll say no latency with an asterisk. There's always some sort of latency, even when you have something wired in. There's always latency always exists. It's perceivable latency. I think that's the way people should be phrasing it now. There should be no perceivable latency, because a lot of people won't be able to perceive, that the latency is there. A lot of people can't perceive latency right now. Like, if you have something that takes 15 milliseconds of latency, there's a lot of people that can't tell that there's any lag or any latency. But some people really can tell. Our TVs. Most modern TVs, unless you're getting a more expensive one, run at 15 ms, 30 ms. That's really normal. Like, a lot of us play console games at 15 to 30 ms. On PC monitors, even cheap ones, seem to run at like 5 ms or less. So if you PC game a lot, it's a little jarring when you go to play a game on a TV, because it's like, oh man, why is my character so sluggish? The input controls have a little lag in them. Using this wirelessly presents some lag, but a lot of us don't perceive that lag. It's kind of like when people talk about 30 FPS and 60 FPS. A lot of people are fine with 30 FPS because either because they don't know better, or because they can't perceive the difference between 30 and 60, or 60 and 120, and 120 and 240. Like, people sometimes can't perceive it. So when any company says no latency, to me it's more so no perceivable latency to a majority of consumers. Let's see here. So, should Nintendo go with xCloud or Stadia? Here's the thing. If we're talking about Nintendo's games, I don't think Nintendo's going to put their games on the services. Now, if we're talking about Switch having streaming services, why would it ever limit itself to one? Why? What's the point? Let people who want to use xCloud, who want to use Stadia, who want to use Amazon, let them all use them on your platform. Why do you care? It's a streaming service. All you care is that you get some cut of the money. That's all that matters. As long as you're getting some sort of cut, why do you care? Like, you don't care. Let users have choice. It's not, the only way they won't do it is if Nintendo's going to allow their own streaming service, which they have streaming capabilities, but I don't think they're going to launch their own streaming service at all. I don't think Nintendo has... Let's be honest, Nintendo is having a hard time with peer-to-peer stuff. They're not going to launch a streaming service like that. They might team up with someone. Like, they might be like, look, you could play Switch games on Stadia, but you can only play those games on Nintendo platforms, right? So it'll be interesting to see if Nintendo... if and when they get in the streaming game, who they go with. But I think on their platform, they should just let everyone be in there. Until Nintendo partners with someone for streaming for their own games, they should just let all platforms on. Like, why limit yourself? There's no benefit to limiting yourself. You're limiting consumer choice. Don't do that. And the next big fight now is going to be which streaming service has which game. Like, because Assassin's Creed Odyssey and Ubisoft is like so buddy-buddy with them, does that mean Ubisoft games aren't going to be on xCloud, but Microsoft locks down contract? Like, that's going to be the next big fight is, you know, instead of fighting for console exclusives, now it's going to be platform exclusives. Like, sure, those games are still on those other platforms, like, physically, but if you want to talk about streaming services, you know, there's going to be a big battle over rights for games, like just like there is between Netflix and Hulu and Amazon. Like, there's a battle for rights there as well. That's going to be the next big gaming battle, is streaming services battling over which studios' games are on which service. There's going to be a lot of us, I bet, that are going to end up being subscribed to multiple services, just like I am subscribed to Hulu and Netflix. Like, there'll be a lot of us that are going to have multiple services, I bet. Yeah, Google's controller, that's a very smart thing they did with the controller. Instead of having it Bluetooth to whatever device you're on, they just have it go through your Wi-Fi, so it's on its own Wi-Fi connection to your router. So ergo, it doesn't matter what screen you're playing on. The screen's irrelevant. It just works because it's not communicating with your screen. It's communicating with their server. I like that. I think that's going to cut down some of the latency that would otherwise be added in if you had to not only get the inputs through a Bluetooth connection and then through Wi-Fi. Instead, just cut out the Bluetooth, go straight to Wi-Fi. I think that's a smart integration, and I like that they're doing that. We'll see how it plays out. I have a Google Home router, so I bet you it works awesome at my house because it's Google, so everything Google probably just is going to work together smoothly. Let's see here. Nintendo try RE7 in Japan using rent server. Instead of which console won, it'll be which service won E3. It'll be interesting. How can an event like E3 work? I mean, think about it. I guess E3, forget the press conferences, the show floor stuff, obviously that could still be a thing, because like you're gonna have games that aren't ready that you could just have on the show floor for people to play. So, and I wonder if because of how bad the internet is at E3 that like none of it works on, like it'll all be localized hardware. Be interesting. It'll be interesting because the internet. Well, I don't know. The companies always seem to have good internet because they're live streaming, so maybe maybe it won't be that bad. No VR. Don't trust that controller listening. I mean, you could not trust it, but you know, the proof's in the pudding, right? Like, people are still going to be skeptical of streaming services. They're going to be skeptical of the controller. They're going to be skeptical of everything until they try it themselves. Like, the best way to deal with skepticism is to actually experience it for yourself. I had some concerns about streaming. I was more optimistic than many were, but I had some concerns, and then I did Project Stream, and I'm like, okay, like, this is pretty legit right now. This is impressive. So my thing is, once I experienced it, my entire opinion on game streaming changed, and that's when I started thinking Nintendo needs to get in on this game streaming thing, because our internet is more ready than people realize. Nintendo has no competition and great exclusives. They will be fine. The big thing with Nintendo is obviously game streaming if game streaming ends up being possible on like 4G LTE, that's going to be interesting. Because that's when you could worry about Nintendo a little bit, since they bring portable gaming with Switch, and they can do that with future platforms. But still, I think Switch is always going to have a place. At least for the foreseeable future. Like traditional, like this isn't gonna kill traditional consoles. Not now, anyways. You know, we have no idea if this is even gonna take off, right? Like they invested a lot of money in this. They believe in it, but we don't even know if this is gonna take off. We don't know if the world is ready to switch to an all-streaming future. But I guess we'll find out in like the next 10 years. I think we got another console cycle at least, and by the end of the next console cycle, we'll know. We'll know if everything is going the way of streaming or not. So it'll be interesting. It'll be very interesting. And that was always the downfall as a consumer when you stream games too, that you don't own the game. I mean, that's always an issue. But as long as it's not like Netflix where games get cycled out, I don't think it'll be that big a problem. It'll be like, look, as long as you're subscribed, you can play the game. As long as games aren't being cycled out, that's one thing I hate about Netflix is when things are cycled out. But if games aren't cycled out, cool. The Soldier game, 800 games in one out of the box is hard to beat. Until Google tells you don't even have to open a box and you have 8,000 games at your fingertips. And Soldier's game console will cost you $300. Well, they'll just be like, it'll be like $10 a month. I know you guys are just having some fun. Mobile data will kill stream device as portable. Yeah, but I mean, mobile data's gotten better. Like, a lot of things moved to unlimited data, but we all know that, like, even though it's unlimited data, there's still limits. Like, on my phone, if I hit 22 gigs downloaded in a month, I still have access, but they limit me to 3G instead of 4G. So I can still watch Netflix and stuff, but it won't be in HD. So I don't hit that limit very often, but it has happened. Last year during E3, I hit that limit. To be expected. I'm using my mobile data a ton when I'm at an event like that. But whatevers. You know, it might get to a day where they don't limit it like that and they just actually let us have unlimited. Maybe it'll be with 5G. I know 5G is a thing with some providers. It's eventually going to, you know, that'll be the next thing with phones. So, I think Google seemed out of touch with how they thought a share button was. And I'm never going to jump ship on traditional consoles either way. You don't have to jump ship. I don't think this replaces traditional consoles. I think this is like an in addition to, or instead of, if you think gaming's too expensive. Now, granted, we don't know the pricing yet, but I assume they talked about, you know, how expensive gaming can be, you know, to buy a box. I think this is going to be pretty cheap. I'm thinking $10 to $15 a month is what this service is going to be. And if it's cheaper than that, like say it's only like $30 a year, oh god, that could kill consoles. If Google comes out and says this is $30 a year, it's like, oh, and it has all the games, all the AAA games. I mean, you're not going to be able to replace, you know, all the exclusive games, but it's like $30 a year. If you have good internet, why are you not using it? Like, way better value than the Nintendo Switch Online service. And Xbox Live and PlayStation Network that we all pay $60 for. The physical console is the Chromecast Ultra. So I think what became apparent is those console-looking plates. I actually mentioned this, I think, in the video I made about it. Those console-looking holders, I think, are going to be for the controller. I think they're just going to have a bunch of controllers, like 2 controllers in each one, facing opposite directions from each other. And they're just going to have a bunch of showing off those controllers in those physical boxes. Chromecast Ultra, obviously, is hardware, but all it is it's just a Roku stick. That's all it is. It's just a Roku stick. TVs will come eventually built, I bet, with Chrome, like with Chromecast in it, like there are with Roku. So then you'll eventually just have to buy a TV that has Chrome support. You're good to go. All right. Well, I got some other videos to make, and I need to kind of summarize my thoughts on this. Might make a standalone video on it. I'm not sure. I might just toss it in with. Might just make today's Prime News all about it, depending on what other news is going on out there. Because we're about to see here, actually, like right now, they should be showing off Doom Eternal at the one thing, and there's going to be footage of that coming out. So Doom Eternal running on the service will be interesting to see, especially the multiplayer. That's what a lot of people are going to be interested in. They want to know. I like the low latency multiplayer in terms of, like, just because someone has a bad connection doesn't mean you are going to have a bad time. I like that, but there's always you know, what's the latency, you know, with all of the people's different internet. I don't know. I honestly, I don't know. It all sounds amazing. Google did a good job making it all sound amazing, so proof will be in the pudding when we finally get to test it out. I really hope it's at E3. I want to test it out at E3, so I really hope it's there. Or sometime that week if they have their own event. I definitely want to attend. All right. Well, thank you guys for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed the stream. I think this might have had more views than a Nintendo Direct. A lot of people, like, I guess new concepts like this are pretty rare, right? Like, you don't get big announcements like this with a new competitor in the space very often. So, thank you for tuning in. We'll put a summary video up or something. Something related to this will be up later, so... catch you guys on the flip side. Peace. Flip side, peace. I know, I'm pretty lame.